And we are live. Last week's session found the party delving deep into the tunnels beneath the city. A massive magic circle dug beneath and encircling the city. They followed a tunnel. Excuse me. They followed a tunnel towards the center of said circle, and destroyed a small portion of the magic sigils that were painted on the interior of the tunnel. After which they heard a mournful howl from further down the tunnel. Delving further, they found a massive chamber beneath the center of the city, in the middle of which was suspended an island of stone hanging from massive chains, bridges leading down to it. On the island, they found a celestial being, a deva, bound hand and wing, center of the isle, and 4 pillars where it appears plain-touched beings had been sacrificed. Their blood pooling in a ring, deva, fueling some profane ritual. Combat ensued with a pair of necromancers that were attending to keeping the angel chained, and a number of undead festering with worms, deadly worms, rose from all about. Perhaps the bodies of the sacrifices turned. A couple of close calls, and the party dispatched their foes, freeing the deva, both from the chains and from the corruption that nearly took it. In exchange, he offered Lunalia a trip to the planar nexus that her father helped create, as well as shed some light on planned ascension and citywide sacrifice that is impending. At the end of the session, the party left the massive chamber. The deva behind them promised to destroy it, as he broke the chains and felled the isle into the deep depths of the pit, perhaps all the way down to the Underdark. Something stirred far below in the darkness. That is perhaps something left for another time. So as we pick up this week, covered in dust from the crash of the massive stone aisle down the tunnel behind them, the party find themselves brushing themselves off and heading off to the next step in their adventure. What would you all like to do?
What time of day is it now?
You know, I went back and listened to a couple of our recent sessions, sort of bits and pieces here and there. I think it's around noon, but please feel free to correct me. I just couldn't figure out if I think you guys had gone out, run some errands. There was a little incident with a net and a granny, and you'd gathered back here and then delved into the depths. So I want to say it's maybe noon or afternoon.
Oh, see, I thought we had slept at the manor house up on the roof in Louis's shack and went down first thing in the morning.
No, because I was pretty tapped out from the legend lore and the polymorph that happened. So I mean, we did that in the morning and then got back to the manor, and then talked with Homeboy some, who said he thinks the guards are going to be evicting us here soon. And then we went down to the tunnel. So I assume we went down to the tunnels around noon. So I figured it was sometime early mid-afternoon at this point.
Yeah, that feels about right. Yeah, you definitely had a long rest, but there's a lot that transpired between then and your spelunking adventure. So yeah, mid-afternoon.
Okay.
That's right. Like, not a lot of time has passed down in the tunnels, a couple of 2-3 hours or so, you find yourselves on the other side of. I think Louis had crafted a wall using fabricate to cover the entrance to the tunnel. Now I don't know if you guys want to stay down here longer, if there's anything else you want to do or explore, or if you want to head back. Really up to you.
I don't think we need to do anything further down here.
No, I don't think there's much else left.
Well, there is obviously something down there, but I do not know what it is, and I do not want to deal with it right now. So, we should go. And do we want to exit the way that we came in, or do we want to find another exit? As we think that house may soon be more hostile than usual.
I don't expect hostility, just a lot of moving pieces, perhaps. She also wants to get up to make sure that she can talk to Keldrum before they move him somewhere that she can't find him.
Ah.
I say we take the road that we know.
Yes, please, as fast as possible.
C'est bon. And Louis will cast Fabricate again to remove the wall that he used, shoring that up. And hopefully make a passage and then recover it at least with the wall inside. Although I don't know, there's probably not enough to do that with. So we'll leave the hole open then.
Yeah, I think we could leave it open. The damage has been done.
Something you notice as you're making your way back through the tunnels, the paint sigils that have been painted spiraling around the interior of the tunnels, floor, walls, and ceiling, is beginning to burn away. There's just a hint of burning ink air. The burnt smell is look, and you can see that it's slowly smoking and burning, like almost like a lit fuse that burns snail's pace. Perhaps the destruction of the chamber behind you has caused the arcane marks here to begin to fade. Well, you make your way back, reopening the entrance using the Fabricate spell and leaving it open behind you. And as you emerge, a familiar bald figure is there in the next room, poring over a few of the tomes left scattered about. It is Azek Trask. His fresh tattoos on the sides of his shaven skull burn slightly red. The flesh about them burns slightly red. He turns and looks. Where did you all come from?
Downstairs?
And I'm pretty sure you hadn't told anybody where you were going, right?
No, we hadn't.
Nope.
I think Krenithos kind of confronted you, and you basically gave him a cold shoulder. There's something beneath here?
Well, there was.
Interesting. My master wishes to speak with you. He's bought us some time. I know not how much. And there's the matter of, well, her. He looks back towards the cell, far end basement. All Krenith Voss was waiting to interrogate her until at least Louis had some time.
Oh, that's right.
Should I send for him? Or...
Well, I think that depends how Louis feels.
Can you give us the map?
Ah, yes. I can. Ooh, I archived it. Hang on, let me grab it. It is... Did I archive it? Well, that's the manor.
We don't have the basement.
I am trying to find it. Yeah, here we go. I got it. It's something weird. Yep, there we go. Might take a little bit for it to look.
I see it. So we are here-ish. And this... And the cell is over...
Yeah, you would have come out of the tunnel and sort of walked out into this space and run into Nazik. You know, out here, or maybe and over here, sort of wandering around with an armload of tomes that he'd collected that were lying about the space, and the Talgrin Vermeer is penned up over here. There is a mage hunter with its arcane nullification gem trained on her. She is in the pit below, shackled.
Do you know how much time he has bought us?
I do not. I think it's best you speak with him.
What does he bought us time from?
The guards
The eviction.
evicting.
Eviction.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I can't nail down music.
Oh, it's okay. I can't hear it anyway. Or is there nothing playing?
No, there is.
Yeah.
We'll go this way.
Oh yeah, there it is. I can hear it. Quiet.
Did we, like, rest and heal and stuff? I know we didn't
Nope.
long rest.
You have not even taken a short rest. At this point, you may have time enough to take a short rest. I mean, that's basically what Nazik is asking you. Says, do you wish me to fetch my master now, or? And he kind of looks at you all.
Tending my wounds.
Yeah, you guys are very obviously just come from combat. Or would you perhaps... Is everything all right down there? Is there something I should know about?
No? It's perfectly fine now. I wouldn't recommend going to look for yourself.
I see. Perhaps you'd like some time to clean yourselves up.
Oui, that could be good. I'm not Maybe a small chance for us to catch our breaths before talking to him.
Very well. There are plenty of rooms available on the main floor. I'll take you to one. He takes you back up the hall and then the long stair up to the manor's cellar, and then up the stairs to the main level of the house, and to a rather large room that has couches, chairs, some bookshelves, and is sort of like a large study where you can all rest and relax. There is no one else in there. There are no guards at the door, and he asks you, is there anything you need? Anything I can bring you before I go?
Well, if we're going to rest here, I'd like to perhaps make a meal for everyone. If I can have access to the kitchen.
Yes, it looks like Noro could do with a chicken or two.
I'm literally just trying to bandage myself up right now.
He says, yes, of course. Master Voss sent the remainder of the staff home. He doesn't trust them. And I think rightly so. Be glad to have someone in the kitchen for a spell. Come. Leaves the room. Kitchen. Rogar, you find the kitchen is very, very well stocked. This place is large, and while it houses a few less Crimson Order than it did previously, the pantry is well stocked. Really anything you could possibly desire in the kitchen, from which to make a meal. Pots and pans, all that. It is one of the nicer kitchens you've seen. In fact,
Nice.
it rivals some of the nicer kitchens you've seen in actual inns, taverns. And it is vacant.
Wonderful. I will make full use of everything here.
Alrighty. Well, feel free to go ahead and punch your short rest buttons as you take a short rest.
I think it's time to use up some hit dice.
I can use chef. 4 plus proficiency, that would be a total of 8. Anyone who uses a hit die, or 1 hit die or more, regains an extra 1d8 hit points.
That you roll, or that we roll?
You can roll them.
Oh, okay.
I'm just letting you know it's just 1d8,
Sure.
and I'll need to know how many people use it.
I will use it.
I don't need it.
I don't need it either.
No?
I'm just doing my arcane recovery, though.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it.
Alright then.
I rolled 3 hit dice, because I needed it.
Same. I'm about to do it myself.
And sorry, then what do we roll? Ice?
Just a d8. No modifiers or
1d8.
anything.
Oh, why didn't mine show for everyone?
Easy there, bud.
He's burning bad.
It's 1d8 per food, right? So, like, I rolled 3 hit dice, but I only roll 1d8, correct?
Any creature who eats food and spends 1 or more hit dice to regain hit points regains an extra 1d8 hit point.
Okay, perfect. So that's an
Yep.
So
extra
you
2.
only roll once.
I got 2. But that gets me very close.
Yep. Oh, Oro feels good. Thank you, Dragon Slayer.
Noro, you do get to add your con bonus to any d12s you rolled. So, like, you rolled the custom roll 2d12, you would add your con bonus twice to that, too.
I think I'm playing on hard mode.
If you click the hit dice in your thing, like in D&D Beyond, it automatically does it. So, like, your 8 above there was 6 plus 2, but your 13 is just a 9 and a 4. So you can add 4 to that or whatever.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, Louis, do you feel ready to have a talk with that prisoner?
I suppose, but I do not know. I do not know what it is that we. What are we trying to learn from them? And what can I add to this conversation?
Well, I believe it was Voss that wanted you there for the conversation.
Oui.
Probably something to do with some high-end intellectual magic-y something, I don't know, that the rest of us are too dumb to understand.
Probably, oui. You
Well,
are
you didn't
right.
need
Good
to
call.
agree so quickly.
All right, I'm gonna hit dice, and I did my arcane recovery. Are we done with our short rest? Should we go find him?
Yeah, or send What's-His-Face to go and fetch him. I think we're all good. What food did you make, Ice?
Probably, I don't know. I'd say comfort food. Comfort food that would be light. Because we just, came back from combat. Probably nothing stringy or the color red.
Mac and cheese, got it.
I was going to say miso soup and like a couple of other things, but I don't think they'd have the necessary things to make that. Also, I don't think Rogar would actually know how to really make that.
The D&D equivalent is miso soup.
Wow. Well, rested and fed and somewhat refreshed, you find Nazik not too far away. He draws a fine wire from a pouch, whispers into it, and just quietly waits. And after a few moments, his master, Kreneth Voss, appears. Tall, very old. He looks tired. While you did see and speak with him earlier this day, there is a look in his eyes of one who not only has not slept well, but will not sleep well for a while. He knows there is perhaps a grim path ahead of him. Nonetheless, there is a look of determination on his face as he slowly glides up to you. You all look like been through a fight. Would you care to enlighten me as to where you've been, what you've done?
Down, below the basement, there is a small tunnel, and it leads to a very large circle of a tunnel, and then at the center, we found some people that were trying to sacrifice some celestial of some sort, and some other very unseemly undead as well. But we managed to stop this ritual and free the celestial, and I think it is all good.
We're all there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also know where or what they've been doing with the genasi they've been taking.
It seems the plane touched were required for whatever ritual they were doing.
That is-
No, I was just gonna say, and dead things, dead things.
Does anything remain of what is below? Anything we can use to prove what these people have been up to? A hostage, a captive, anything beyond your word?
Unfortunately, we destroyed it all.
Well, I suppose the one we have in the cage below will have to do.
Would Lunalia have... I mean, I imagine probably, but would Lunalia have taken that worm out of her? The one that was the bird under her skin?
Well, yeah, like if you didn't remove the worm, it
Well, it was dead.
Yeah.
So it's either dead and, will be absorbed into me,
I
or
mean,
it's
like,
dead and it'll just stay there.
yeah, I imagine you would have dug it out.
Yeah.
Or, it would have popped out when you healed yourself.
That's true.
Okay, was just wondering.
Well, I have some news as well. I've managed to buy us the day. I have an audience this eve. Hang on a sec. Oh, I've lost my notes. Where did you go? Son of a gun. Really? But it was right here. Are you frickin' serious? Yeah, alright. Sorry, give me just a second here. I've just gotta... I have to find something real quick. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. I thought I had pasted something into my notes that I obviously did not. Crown of Voss says, I've managed to buy us the evening. I have secured an audience with the Lord Regent at sundown this eve. We are allowed to remain here until then. I imagine Hammond Sam will be there as well, given this is his property. Perhaps an opportunity to reveal. I believe he's involved. What say you?
I think we believe that as well.
Good. Well, Louis, and the rest of you may accompany if you wish. Would you join me while I question my former subordinate below?
Where is this meeting happening at?
Oh. In the Regent's Council chamber. In the castle above. Why?
I've never been to a castle before.
I fear the Hammond that shows up may not be the true Hammond.
Explain.
He does not appear as himself, apparently.
And who or what do you suspect he is?
Something unholy.
Did the Erelon guy say was he the tendril or the tenebrius or whatever it was?
Tenebris?
Yeah, that thing.
I think Hammond was working for the Tenebris.
Yeah. Tenebris is, I think Erelon revealed that Tenebris is a vestige of Orcus, a remnant of the former demigod. A shade or a shadow of the being. And he implied that Hammond is involved with all of this.
So I'll just try to explain it like Hammond may have some type of clone or some type of, whatever else that might be. He's been attacked and gravely wounded before and suffered no injuries afterwards.
Simulacra, doppelganger, clone, an illusion. He may use any number of things. Those are what I am aware of, that he perhaps might use. There are others as well. One does not get to be so high up without having some tricks, some misdirection, some subterfuge. Well, there we go. Turns and starts to leave the
Now he knows what he's walking into.
Are you all going with him to question Talgrin?
We might as well.
We should.
Yeah, well, yeah.
He leads you back down once again to the dungeon below the manor house.
I swear, if another dead thing comes alive.
We've handled the dead here, Noro. It should be fine now.
Into the room, that you see on your map here to the right, and I won't put any tokens on the map or anything, unless somebody gives me a reason to roll initiative.
I punch Voss in the back of the head. Put them on the map.
In the room are a pair of acolytes. Nazak Trask is nowhere to be seen. Imagine he's tending to the group's other affairs somewhere. With the Mage Hunter, its gaze still fixed on Talgrin. Pranthvos walks up and motions to one of the acolytes. Open it. Nods and unlocks the heavy iron gate. The two of them lift it up. With her head still hung low, the former Inquisitor looks up. Just looks around all of you. And Voss says, Talgrin, you have betrayed our order. Furthermore, you've been meddling in affairs that are far too dark for someone of your stature. We intend to find out what it is you've been up to, what you and your allies have been planning. You are the last among us. I have seen to it. Several of your cohorts no longer draw breath. We will get to the bottom of this. You will answer our questions. The only thing that is in your control is how much of you remains when we are finished. He turns and looks at the rest of you and says, as you all appear to know as much, if not more, about her affairs than I do, you may take the lead in this questioning. If you'd like. You can see the way she's chained up. Her hands are, her wrists are manacled, and she's chained in such a way where she cannot reach the ground. To perhaps, trace a circle with her own blood, to summon or basically to do anything. Like, her hands are, manacled and chained apart from each other, away from the ground. There really isn't, anything she could do, and she is, standing in an anti-magic field as well. They seem to have taken some precautions. You also notice that there is a collar around her neck that has softly glowing sigils inscribed in it.
Are we in the anti-magic zone as well?
The way the Mage Hunter is positioned, it is basically like, if she's chained in the pit here, it is standing here on all fours, and it's looking down at her. So as long as you don't, walk up within like 5 feet of her, then no, you're out of the field.
So, like, if we stand over on this side,
You can stand anywhere in the room. It's basically like almost right above her, pointing its cone down at her, and it's only like 15 feet down. So, it spreads in a circle that maybe comes to here. So, if you stood in this space, you'd be fine, but any further to the right and standing in it.
What's she wearing?
She's wearing just a simple tunic and breeches. They've stripped her of her robes.
Would it hide if she had like the same mark that the other guy where it was?
The tunic is not laced up all the way. You can see, I think was the brand on her chest? No, it's on her back. I think you've seen the brand on her back when she was incapacitated.
I
okay,
think we
never
checked
mind
her,
then.
didn't we?
I forgot.
I wouldn't know the first thing to ask her, so I will defer to my more learned colleagues.
I mean, what is it that we're trying to get out of this? So she was one of the ones in this house that has the tattoo of Orcus that was working on this like rogue branch, right? But I mean, what is it that we are trying to learn from her?
I think just what her involvement was. Who's running the show, on whose orders? Is she working with Ham and Sam? Like, I think we're just looking for confirmation. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we need to take it to the Regent, and she's like the only evidence we have left.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We didn't bring anything with us, so it's gonna have to come from her. Or we could just start with a simple question.
Who does your nails?
What was the arrangement for using this place?
As you begin to speak, Voss snaps his fingers, and the gem in the forehead of the mage hunter fades to black. She looks up and locks eyes with him, and her eyes go slightly wider. Louis, you might imagine he's using the same spell that he used on you, Detect Thoughts. And sorry, what the question was, what was the arrangement?
Yeah.
With Ham and Sam?
For this place.
I'll answer none of your questions. As she says that, you begin to hear a burning sound, a sizzling flesh. You all become aware of one of the sigils tattooed on the side of her head starting to slowly burn away, as if it was made of like slow burning gunpowder beneath the flesh. The smell of burning flesh permeates the room, and you can see her grit her teeth, her eyes start watering, but she doesn't cry out.
Is this something that it looks like Voss is doing to her?
You do see his hand raised slightly, and he's tracing a sigil slowly in the air. She grits her teeth and through tears looks up at you, spits on the ground. He gave us this place. And the staff to feed us, look after us. You see one of Voss's eyebrows raise. And? Come now, Talgrin, there's more than that. I can hear it rattling around in that bald head of yours. Say it.
How long ago was this arrangement made?
"6 months. Another sigil starts to sizzle and burn away, taking flesh with it. Ah! 6 months. Telling the truth. Yes, but there's more than that, isn't there? What about what lies below? She just looks up at him and shakes her head. Come now, you can tell us. He looks at the rest of you. Go on. Ask her about what you found below.
We've been below. We know what's down there, what they were attempting. So why don't you just confirm for us? What were they attempting to do?
Her eyes narrow and she looks at you. You've seen it then. The chamber. Glorious, isn't it? The cocoon. Where our god would emerge in his new form. Oh, it's nearly done. Nearly. Her eyes drop back to the floor.
Well, I'm afraid not. It's been quite destroyed.
She looks back up at you and there's anger in her eyes. No. No, you lie. You're lying to get more out of me.
My dear, I abhor liars. What would I have to gain from it?
Make a persuasion check.
Ugh,
Oh,
so garbage at those.
Here comes the potato.
here we go. Potato time.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. You got a +3 also.
Oh my god.
Another sigil flares up and begins to burn as she grits her teeth again, struggling against the chains. Go ahead and make your roll again.
Ooh.
I'm calling a 7. Close.
Wow.
No, you did get a 7.
It
Plus
is
3.
true.
She looks up at you through gritted, and just spits through gritted teeth. It's no matter. We'll start again. Here or another city. We'll start again. You can't stop us all.
Noro's just gonna be dumb about this, and he's just gonna be like, there's another place like this somewhere else?
There can be given time.
He just kind of like sighs and
What did you need with the wizard, Aloro? Clearly you were after him for more than just his crimes. He and the others, they've learned something. They've discovered some power. Harnessed something in their work. We needed them to break the barrier between us and the vault. Focus the energy they've harnessed. Free the breath of Orcus.
And when was it discovered that you needed them? How long have you been hunting them?
A smile starts to spread across her lips, even while her teeth are still gritted against the pain. Years. Secretly. took time to convince the Order that what they did was profane. We've hunted them for years. Him especially. The rest know things, but he is the prize. He's the key.
So, if it were not for your kind persuading the remainder of your order, like Voss here, Kaeldrim and the others like him would never have been hunted?
Eventually, they have upset the natural order of the plains. Their transgressions would have been discovered eventually. She
Well,
looks
boss, it looks like your order was infiltrated quite some time ago.
He just looks at you, and his face is completely expressionless. Madam, I am embarrassed, to say the least. But let's stay focused here. He turns back to her.
Which one of the 5 work for you?
She looks at you, and her
is-
eyes narrow.
Or is close to working for you?
This one's clever. How did you know?
Because Alaron is still alive, and he was quite coherent while you prepared him for the ritual.
The ritual would still be some time away. We needed Aloro. But he would have had work to do before we were done. And if he resisted, well, we would have seen to it that he complied. She keeps grinning.
Sorry, so out of context, is she inferring that they were trying to get Aloro to work with them?
Yeah, they were trying to capture him, but not just to, like, sacrifice him or use a trinket he had, to get him to do something for them, to get him to harness whatever, or to direct whatever power he and the others had harnessed to their ends. Like, if even without knowing exactly what it is that the 5 were working on, you do know that they were tinkering with, the planar cosmology, and this group is trying to retrieve a vestige of a god from a vault in another plane, and bring it here en masse. So, it stands to reason that they need some planar wizards, some planar tinkerers to help make it happen. Short of just going to Pandemonium, going on a quest to, like, break into this place and put it in a jar and bring it here and unleash it. Maybe just punch a hole through the planes and bring it here directly.
Right. How many of the others of Aloro's group have you come into contact with?
She doesn't speak, and another sigil begins to burn. This time, she groans through gritted teeth. 2.
Which 2?
Cain. Useless. He knew nothing. financial backer of their work, an investor of sorts. Oh, but he helped us find the others.
Is he still alive?
She just shakes her head.
And the other?
Nostrick. He was more helpful. In a way, he continues to be.
What do you mean?
Well, he wouldn't help us. Not on his own. But as I said, that doesn't matter. We have ways.
I happen to have it on very good authority that the last time you encountered Nostrick, he slipped through your fingers.
We made sure that didn't happen again. Before you ask, he's gone. But a piece of him lives on with us. And she gets a strange, sickly grin on her face. The Illithids have discovered all sorts of intriguing ways to preserve the intellect of their victims. The only difficulty was payment. You see, they don't really value the same things we do. A mind flare.
No.
I heard mention. In fact, I believe Master Allura was attacked by one. Here, in this place. Where is it now? Well, wherever it wants to be, we hold no sway over it. But he comes when called. Voss turns and looks at the rest of you. Well, this seems to have gotten more complicated.
Is the mind flayer is he being paid for his services, or does he have other ulterior motives?
He asked what we were doing, and when we explained in enough detail, with enough honesty, oddly called it payment enough. Her eyes narrow. I would not pretend to understand how their minds work, or what he is after, but I do not trust him. Not beyond our little deal.
And what exactly is your little deal with him?
He was secured to coerce Calderman and his friends into helping us, or forcibly take from them what they knew and provide it to us. Asked.
And did you get this?
From Nostric, yes. From Caeldrum, it was our intent. Till you arrived. She looks up at all of you with hatred in her eyes.
Are there places that those of your order are operating?
Another, after 5 seconds of silence, another. He's starting to run out of tattoos to burn off of her head, but another sigil bursts into flame this time, burning quickly, and for the first time she screams out loud. Come now, do tell us. It's not polite to make us wait. You notice he seems to actually kind of be enjoying this. Well, where are the rest? Everywhere. You won't find us. Now that this effort is lost, the others will go to ground. Regroup, rebuild. It may take years, but we'll rise again. He who walks in shadow will see to it. Yes, I'm sure he will. He turns to you, and in a tone of voice that shows that he's starting to bore of this. Is there anything else you'd like to ask her before we're done? Oh, I don't intend to kill her here. I will take her with me to present the Regent. For at this point, her words really hold the most value in explaining what we've been doing.
I've got one more if nobody else does.
I might, depending on what yours is.
Who is Tenebrous? This shadow that you speak of?
He who walks in shadow. Our Lord. God. He is the shadow of Orcus. The very will that remains. We will restore him to greatness.
And where is he now?
He is in the hearts of us all. I'm told he walks among us, but I've never seen him. Only his most trusted speaks with him directly.
So Hammond.
Yes.
And how many more of your order are in the city?
Well, that depends on how many he's killed. And she looks at Voss. He just looks down at her. All that wore our robes. So how many more are there? Not many. Those in Hammond's employ, perhaps. If you've seen the tunnels, you must know that they were dug by many laborers. I know not how many of them knew what the purpose was, or even draw breath. Perhaps he did away with them so they could not reveal the secret of the circle, but there must be more. I'm only aware of those in our order. Hammond would know the rest.
I have nothing further to ask her.
Go. Face him. Try to denounce him. He will kill you all. He is great, mighty. You will not succeed. Marcus will rise again. Undeath will sweep over the lands. You are powerless to stop him. I believe I've heard enough. He casts a quick spell, and her muttering and raving turns to silence as he casts the silence spell about her. I swear she was more pleasant than that past years. It is still disturbing to me that one so close to me fell so far. So, let us adjourn to another place so she cannot hear us. He walks back out into sort of the main, this big room right here, with the summoning circle, what's left of it on the floor, the pit below. And if you follow him, he waits for everybody to come out into the... There are more of us. Our order is spread across multiple endeavors. And only hope that those who turn to this dark path, contained to this group, I have work to do, however, to ensure that our kind are found, removed from ranks. In addition, I cannot trust anything that they have reported to us. I will have to inspect this so-called damage that Aloro and his ilk have brought upon the material plane. This will take me some time.
My concern is that there are members of her order that are not among your order. How many are city officials? Members of the constabulary? members of the government.
I cannot answer that. This is beyond my realm. This is not my city nor my country. I must attend to this matter at home first. I would prefer to take Master Allura with me. He will be treated well, but I cannot simply release him into the wild until we have a better understanding of what they have done, as well as I would like to keep him close in the event that others like her come for him.
But she went unknown to you for how many years? How many others of your order are hiding?
Are you proposing something else with regards to Master Allura, then?
I think he should be placed somewhere safe.
That was my intent.
Somewhere safe from your kind as well.
He turns to Louis. Do you have an idea, my friend?
We do have a friend, the good wizard Peremont. Maybe we could return Monsieur Allura to him. I think they are even friends. To be somewhere safe, and if there are more things that you need from him, then maybe you can go and visit him there.
I agree.
He steeples his fingers together, deep in thought, and looks back to Louis. I am somewhat familiar with Paramon. He is a good man, if a little troublesome.
Eccentric, funny in the head, crazy.
Not the words I was going to use. Troublesome. I suppose if there was some guarantee that we could find Master Allura, did we decide that he should face judgment for what he's done, it might be acceptable.
At the moment, Peremont is in a small town. What was it called? Fandover, right?
Phandalin.
Phandalin, there we go. He's in a small town called Phandalin. So if you want, you can have some of your order there in that town. But, it's probably best that he is not... Monsieur Allura is not a prisoner. It would be easiest to work with him in cooperation. And I'm sure he would be more than happy to help your investigation with what went on here. But there is no need to keep him in custody.
Phandalin is small, out of the way, low population. I don't think there's too much trouble he can get into out there, especially not with Paramon with him. And his daughter, of course.
Clearly, madam, you have not known wizards long enough. will always get into trouble if left to their own devices.
We are aware. As he just side glances Louis.
Yeah.
Louis just gives the thumbs up.
I am at a crossroads here. I have few within my order I can trust. Isaac Trask appears to be one of such. But I need him at my side. He's young, inexperienced, yet to come into his full potential. I'm loath to assign him to watch over Aloro, but I have no one else I truly trust at this point. These events are still fresh to me. Paramon has a reputation. It is enough for me for now. But I would prefer a member of my order accompany you. Perhaps I would prefer one of you were a member of my order. He looks at Louis. I would not ask you to wear the robes.
Of course not, that would look silly.
They can be tailored.
Clearly, but red is not his color.
He just kind of looks at you with like, don't ask dumb questions. Of course, we can get him a short robe.
I didn't mean the size, I meant the color. He's clearly a purple man, not a red.
And he looks back at Louis and says, there are those who have assisted our order in the past, whom we have trusted to carry out our orders, to bring us information, to watch over those who we could not. Would you consider allying with us?
C'est possible. I do not want to sound too, trite, but what is in it for me? Is there payment? Is there consultation? Or how does this work?
You get a fancy gold mask.
You get some nice tattoos on the top of your head.
Teach some
What other
acolyte.
kinds of commitments do I need to make to be part of your order? Do you have standard bylaws that I should read? This is a big commitment for a moment of high emotion right now,
Do you have dental insurance?
A small smile creeps across his face. I would empower you to act as a member of our order. You do not have to, but you may don our robes if you find them useful on occasion. You would be accepted into the courts of several countries and city-states to speak on our behalf. Membership in our order carries some authority, although it is not respected by all. You would bear our mark. And you may call on me at any time. I expect you understand that your commission only applies to this matter for now. I would ask that you refrain from using the authority bestowed upon you for anything beyond. And by that, he infers there's no paycheck or dental plan.
I assume that you say that I can call on you at any time, but I assume that also means that you may call on me at any time.
On the matter of Master Oloro, yes. On other matters, if you are available.
This is good for now. I'm sure there are other things for us to discuss and to work out, but okay, yeah, this is good. I will supervise the relationship between Monsieur Oloro and the Order. You can talk to me whenever, and maybe I will talk to you whenever, and it's good.
There is a brief look that flashes across his face like he's made a terrible mistake. But Louis also let him into his head.
True.
At a superficial level. And so he's got a bit of a feel for what kind of guy he is. He's also you all get the feeling, like, without any insight check or anything, this guy is backed into a corner. He's found that a demonic cult has infiltrated his group of, wizard cops, and really doesn't know who the hell he can trust. You don't know the size of his organization or how powerful he is within that organization. He probably answers to somebody. And he's got to be thinking, does this go above me? Or is my boss in on this? Who else is in on this in my order? The very, very best case is that this is a cell that operated within this group, and really only exists here, but who knows? So, until he figures it out, he's certainly seen the work that your crew has done. He's seen the olive branch of trust that, Louis initially offered. He's taken a chance. And so he says, Master Lamore, would you offer your hand, please?
Oui, I oblige.
He retrieves his spell book, a ancient-looking leather-bound tome, and thumbs to a page near the beginning, and begins to chant an incantation as he traces a complex sigil in the air.
I'm kidding.
After some time, you begin to see runes appear in midair. That very familiar, blue-white trace of arcane energy outlining them. He passes his hand over the runes as he finishes tracing them, and makes a sort of a slapping motion downwards towards your outstretched palm. And the runes shrink in midair as they fly towards your palm and embed themselves there before disappearing. There. Now you bear our mark. You kind of look at your palm, nothing there. But when you hold your hand out, palm out, and sort of focus on the bead of arcane energy that still sits there, embedded in palm, the sigil flares to life in midair in front of your hand, and it is very familiar, very similar to some of the marks that they bear on their bald heads.
Okay, is there anything else that I need to know about being a cop, or do I just go and be a cop now?
I will place you with Nazik for an overview of what we stand for. Again, I am asking you to operate on our behalf on this matter only.
But if
For
something
now.
else comes up, then I just want to make sure that I am ready to, I just must make sure that I know what it is that I represent, and it's good. We will work it out. But I do not generally like the cops, but it's okay. Another matter, though. With what she said about Monsieur Sam, do you think that this is a good idea to bring this into the public with the regent? What if the regent himself is part of this?
That is my concern.
What if there are others? Maybe this is not something that we can deal with in the public eye at this point. You cannot walk into a courtroom and tell them that a dead god is coming back to life in their city. Especially when we do not know who else that wants that to happen is around. And Monsieur Sam, he is very influential here in the city. I do not know that we can take him down, and if we play our cards and we are not ready, then none of us sees the next morning.
I'm out of my element here. I have not dealt with Sam or the Regent, really anyone in this city, prior to this week. I will take your counsel, but we do have and I'm thinking if you would accompany me, you have an opportunity to at least speak to the Regent. Suppose the decision needs to be made how much we will reveal and how closely we hold the rest. My intent was to buy more time, city. But as you've dispatched of the circle you found below, we've gotten as much as we can from her. Perhaps I do not need to stay any longer. If I release Caeldrum into your custody, that frees me to be off, to look further into what they've claimed about him, and return to my order to root out the rest. So I suppose the question stands, what do we wish to do this evening when we face the Regent? And I think we can take a quick break there if you guys want to chit-chat about it. I'm just going to go grab some water. You guys are okay with it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Putting the stream on break.
have the city deal with the tunnel, and then explain or say that there's no longer a threat, that it's been dealt with.
Right, without committing too much information on our involvement.
I'll tell you this. The age of the tunnel is such that it is not entirely clear, and perhaps a dwarf, somebody with a little bit more expert eye could tell, but as best the party can tell, it is not entirely clear the age of that tunnel versus the ownership of that mansion. It is entirely possible that it, you could pin the tunnel on the mansion's previous owner. So if you wanted to reveal the existence of the tunnel without saying, it was built right under Ham and Sam's nose, entirely possible you could spin it that way. Like, oh yeah, Alia's dad did it. Perhaps he's already an asshole who's in prison. Maybe he did this too. You're gonna be real pissed if you get her dad killed, though.
Yeah, no, Scribble wouldn't be down for that. Scribble kind of, I don't know, I just kind of assumed that he had died in prison. I thought she was older.
She is older. I don't know. I don't actually know. She hasn't revealed that to you. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you actually know if he's alive or not.
We could also make mention of the Illithid with the tunnels.
So, Scribble, what do you think? You do want to be part of this meeting? How much do you want to reveal?
Or is it more just you want to go listen, see who the players are, etc.?
Yeah, Scribble wants to learn more information. But as far as revealing everything, more of that, people were being held, but it's been dealt with. That it was the order.
Mm.
The rogue portion of it.
Rogar would probably go with Scribble, just in the off chance that Hammond might be there.
Mm.
Well, Scribble fully expects Hammond to be there. I mean, the Voss said he was going to be. But this also puts it to where, by Scribble saying that everything's been taken care of, it takes the heat off of Hammond.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which would put more good light on Scribble.
Yes.
So we don't want to out Hammond at this point.
Right.
Is there... So knowing that so we want him to believe he's still free so that he can continue? And then it's just that we know now, and is there a way to keep track of that?
Way to keep track of what?
Hammond Sam's scheme.
Yeah, what then is our long-term plan?
Right.
With this guy.
Well, I mean, the Voss knows about everything that we've kind of told him so far. So maybe members of the Crimson Order could still stick around to watch.
I don't think we're supposed to see that.
I don't think so.
But okay, I'm just thinking if Hammond Sam is still using the Crimson Order, we can use it as bait to, I don't know, almost have recon.
I think once the Manor House kind of exploded and it drew attention to, or doubts to Ham and Sam, he kind of wanted to cut ties with everything.
Well, and he mentioned that to Scribble too, that they've outlived their usefulness.
Well, that's right.
Yeah, no, I like Scribble's idea.
So again, then what is our long-term plan with him and Sam? We know this guy wants to summon Orcus. We're not gonna, we're not gonna call him out in public. Are we working then against him still at some point? Like, if we know this dude is like super evil, like this is like the one like, hey, this guy's really evil that we know about,
Well, we don't really personally have the resources to keep tabs on him. We have made connections with people that can. I think we tap Voss or it sounds shitty to say it, but Silas to contact us if a month down the road Hammond Sam has skipped town or is up to some shady shit again. But until then, what are we can't just hang around in Dralamar watching this guy.
Yeah.
No, if we expose Hammond, chances are he'll just fuck off out of Dralamar, and then everything that we basically gained is for naught.
Exactly.
Or he just says we're bullshit.
Yeah. If
And
we
he
don't
gets
expose
believed
him
over us.
Yeah. If we don't expose him, we know that he'll still be here.
Yeah, I mean, this is like whatever you want to do. You could walk in and fight this guy right now. You could also just let this whole entire thing chill, and you deal with him months or years from now, or never, or maybe he comes after you because you foiled his plan. He's a problem for future you. There should be absolutely no reason for you guys to deal with him now, unless you want to. And that can be you walk in there and draw swords. That can also be, you figure out where he lives and jump him in the middle of the night, or any number. Or you put some feelers out and you figure out the next time he travels, you jump him Madrick style and take him out. Any number of things you want to do. Possibilities.
For all we know, he's already skipped town, and it's just his simulacrum here.
Yeah. Scribble, you would guess, just based on your read of this guy, that he's not going. This is his house. This is his town. It doesn't matter that you foiled his plot. He'll find some way to pin it on somebody else. He'll find some way to spin it. You don't scare him. Maybe you should, but you don't.
Yeah, and that's why Scribble wants to go and say that it's been dealt with.
Okay,
Well, but in the same vein, though, I mean, he'll find someone to pin it on. He'll find someone, yada yada. But that also means he'll find a way to continue trying to, like, his goal is to bring back Orcus, and he will find a way to try to continue to do that.
And these tunnels,
But that's years away.
I mean, like, you can tell these tunnels, and that were at least a decade of work. If not a decade of work, then a ridiculous amount of manual labor to tunnel all this out. And all of the material that was quarried out must have gone somewhere, although now there's a giant pit in the middle that could have just been dumped in there. That massive chamber in the middle, you have no idea how that was dug out, if it was dug out at all. It seemed somewhat natural, but a little bit too regular in shape. And the platform in the middle and the massive chains, like, all of that shit it's a monumental undertaking. There's no way he could whip this all up again in a month or a year. So, just based on what the investment that you've seen, what it takes to try and sacrifice an entire city for a god's reascension, is like, you can be confident knowing he's not going to pull this shit out of his ass in a week and do it again.
So that being said, we think that the best bet then is we go, we talk to the regent. Hey, there was a problem. We dealt with it. We don't name Hammond Sam. And then we just talk to Silas and tell him, hey, let us know when this guy gets funky again.
No,
then
we don't
dip?
need to talk to anybody other than if we just walk away from this meeting, it's going to seem awfully strange that there were all these extra explosions, that this meeting was requested with the king,
Mhm.
and then no one showed up. Like, it all just magically went away.
Right. But my point is that like we probably want to have a conversation with someone to like let us know if Hammond is fucking up again, right? Or does Silas keep an eye on him, or do we not like Silas? Does Voss keep an eye on him?
Well, I mean, are you wanting to fight Hammond right now?
I don't think that. I think that would probably be a bad idea. But I just want to have a plan of if we're about to leave Dralamar, there are still fucking hot things happening here, right? That
What
are
hot
potentially
things?
like super evil, right? Huh?
What are the hot things that are happening?
I mean, there's this super evil dude that wants to summon Orcus, and maybe he can't summon Orcus, but he's still super evil. So we're just gonna like let him go.
Well, we don't know what his next plan of action is. We don't know what he's up to. We're not part of his inner circle. We don't have the information. And right now, we also don't have the means of keeping track of him. You know,
Right,
McPoker said
but-
he's not leaving town because this is his kingdom, and you know, why would he leave?
I think what Wire's trying to say is we know he's evil and he's going to be up to something else as soon as we leave. Do we want to allow that to happen?
Well, what do we do to prevent it?
That's exactly what I'm asking. Like this guy
Mhm.
just killed a whole bunch of Genasi, just like you, and now we're just gonna let him get away with it, and we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna leave. And if that's what we want to do, we can do that, you know. But, you know, like, is that what we want? Like, is that what we want to do? And I mean, I don't think that like outing him to the regent is a good idea. I don't think that fighting him is a good idea.
So
But
then,
we
what does that leave?
That is exactly what I'm asking. Do we have any? Like, I don't know. I don't know. You know. But are we just going to walk away and let this super evil dude continue to be super evil?
Is it possible to use like Scribble's connections, like to how we have like we had a militia in Phandalin. Obviously, we're not going to do a militia here, but could we have our own ring of something through our connections somehow to?
You talking like a spy network?
Maybe.
Even that, like, I mean, who do we like? I don't even know who we have in town that we can really trust, right? Like, there's Silas and Hammond, but you know,
Well, I think
we didn't really like Silas, right?
Yeah, essentially, they're two sides of the same coin. They're both bad.
What about the lady that we hid out at her place and it was like the safest?
She
No,
didn't even
she-
know what was going on with her chop.
She's an innocent. Like,
She's a bystander.
the city is
I mean, we
big.
get
It's a government. They have their own military, their own militia. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way that us bunch of unconnected scrubs have enough pull in the city to put people together to form any kind of militia or spy network or whatever. Like, we know Lysarin, and that's about it. When it comes to people of high enough rank to do anything. But he's one dude, and he's just a retailer. There's no one else I can think of in town.
He will be deeply disappointed. I'm going to tell him you said that. You called him just a retailer.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's not on the council. He's not a member of the nobility. He's just a shop owner.
So we just dip.
I think we do.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's shitty. He's a bad guy, and he did horrible things. You know, he got a shitload of my people killed. But what can I do about it?
right now.
There's
Right now.
nothing I can do right now. We
Right
need to
now.
learn more about his boss and figure out, you know what I mean? Like, is there other projects along the coast that are being worked on? Is there another guy like him in the next big city down the road that's also setting something up in case Hammond failed? Like, we just need more information.
I got a
You
question
could
for
flash
you
your
guys.
badge and arrest him.
You what?
We can arrest him with Louis' power.
I
I
mean,
totally picture Louis flashing that badge anytime he wants. He's not getting the answers that he wants. Anyway, Poker, what were you saying?
I was going to ask you guys, I don't know if this would help you at all, but Kreneth Voss would definitely ask you for, I know we didn't RP all of it, but he would ask you for a description of the tunnels and the chamber beneath the city in detail. He wants to know everything that you saw, the like the sacrificial platform and the blood pool and all of like he's definitely interested to hear what all you found. And if you explain that, like if you describe all of that in detail, any or all of you describe that in detail, it does really help him understand the gravity of the situation, the scope of what these people are trying to do. And he seems hesitant to force anyone's hand at this point. Like he's not gunning for a fight here either.
Yeah, I would just show him an illusion of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is my new boss now, right? Got to have transparency with the boss. So
Yeah, that's fine. So we tell him everything.
Yeah, you guys would take what, if you decide to, you take what time you need to loop him in on all of this, but the idea is he now gets the gravity of the situation, and that's kind of, I came at it from that angle already. Like, you guys didn't just come back and be like, yeah, we found some tunnels and they were sacrificing an angel and shit. Like, you would have, you would tell him, describe in
A
detail.
little more detail, yeah.
He's like, all right, this is pretty bad. What? And now he's beginning to think, what else is this Hammond Sam guy capable of? Like, that was, a decade of work, sure, but how powerful is this guy? What is his secular power, and what arcane power does he wield? If this guy is their leader, maybe he's more than we can take. I don't even know who I can trust anymore in my own organization. I don't know if I just go jump this guy. So, if you involve him in your plans at all, I mean, I'm sure you're going to go to him at the end and be like, okay, here's what we think we should and shouldn't say, or should and shouldn't say. He's more than likely going to be on board with not starting a fight.
Right.
They're not from here. They don't really hold any authority here. They're allowed to operate. So long as they're, so long as they can prove that what they're doing is good. Like, Louis would know, from what he's read about the Crimson Order, what he's heard about them, that they show up, they pitch they plead their case if they have to get anybody's approval. Like, we're after this guy, here's the shit he's done, here's why it's bad. Please let us do this in your city. And it really still is up to, like, they get told no as often as they get told yes. But if they can plead their case well enough, the city officials will allow them to operate for the sake of, the good of the world. But they've it's just as often that they show up and they're like, we're after this rogue wizard for some bullshit that he's up to, and the captain of the guard's like, no, that's fine, we'll deal with it. He's one of our citizens, we'll deal with him. And then, that might go one of two ways. They might deal with him. They might get their asses kicked and have to go call the Crimson Order back and be like, okay, yeah, you know what, this dude is way more than we can handle. Go for it. But their jurisdiction is not ubiquitous. They're allowed to operate. That being said, they are recognized very widely. But they don't just get to go do what they want. And so, like, Lunalia's exposure to them, before this campaign started, in her sort of zero sessions, was definitely exposure to a rogue element within their group that was, evil. Anyway.
So are we good to go with Scribble's idea then?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, so we'll go to this meeting, and then we'll plan on getting Oloro and heading to Phandalin, right?
Laurel wants blood, but he sees majority.
You get the undead blood.
He kind of goes to he's like, I don't know what that guy did to you, Louis, but if you turn undead, I'm sorry.
I forgive you.
I mean, you guys could show up to talk, and unfortunate accident could occur, and suddenly dude's head falls off. You're like, I was just standing here. The barbarian's the one that swung at him.
Yeah. It's not going to be him anyway. It won't matter. All right, let's go. Are we all going?
We shall go.
Yeah.
I guess we all go.
Oh, split the party. Come on.
No.
Oh. All right. Well, after
Rogar will
some...
split the party.
What's that?
What?
Rogar's going to head to the temple while everyone else heads to the castle then.
Okay.
Ah, okay. I
I
imagine
we all need to go anyways.
So I imagine you have this discussion. When you're done, you speak with Krenethos and loop him in on as much of it as you're comfortable with.
Yep.
And he would agree that let's not be hasty. You seem to have dealt a major blow to this group's progress, and now is not the time or place to push our luck further. He really does seem anxious to go put his affairs in order and figure out who he can trust. Evening comes. And you, map here. Takes a second to load. From the Minted Terrace, as a group, he decides to leave behind the captive. Instead of, we're playing our cards a little closer to the chest, he's not going to take Talgrin Vermeer with him. He does take a pair of acolytes, neither of them his most trusted, but he does take a pair with him, and you figure it's more for show than anything else. The lot of you join him, and Rogar, I guess you would, I don't know if you take off earlier. By the time you're all done with figuring this out, it's approaching time anyway. Rogar, you turn south across Drallen's Span and towards the temple. The rest of you make your way up Champion's Ascent, past folk on foot and on horseback. The road winds up the hill. The houses of the elite down both sides of the wide cobbled street. As you crest the hill, you see before you a large affluent neighborhood of homes and what look like more sort of official buildings and towers, some of them with signage on the front. The offices of various city administrators, etc. To your right, the rays of the setting sun catch a massive, towering stained glass window that glitters in the sunlight, reflecting the sun's rays across a long strip of water, a reflecting pool that cuts a swath through the middle of this neighborhood here atop Castle Rock. The strange angles of the brass and bronze cathedral also reflect light in various directions. To your left, as you follow the street up, it leads through another small neighborhood of towers and homes, and above you, before you, rises the White Bastion, a massive castle. Blue spires with pennants streaming from their tops, from the ocean breeze. Brilliant white stonework. Even at this hour, you see a team of city workers cleaning the stone. Some suspended from cranes on rope harnesses, keeping the castle gleam. A large outdoor amphitheater fills the southwestern space next to the White Bastion, where perhaps tournaments and plays can be held for the city's most affluent. As you approach the front gate, several guardsmen surround you. Kreneth introduces himself, states his intent. You are taken into a large foyer where you are asked to relieve yourself of your weapons. You can see they have a rather ornate vault in which to store them.
Yeah, Lunalia would hand hers over.
And I guess to keep it simple, they're really looking to relieve you of any overt weapons. Obviously, a spellcaster will get away with doing whatever they want without a weapon. But, they're looking to at least, if somebody were to stir up trouble, they're looking to at least, make it an easier fight on their guards against any melee combatants.
Right.
Do you all comply?
Yes.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I don't have a weapon.
His mind is his weapon. Good luck taking that.
Yeah. Noro?
His fists are his weapon. Good luck taking that.
It's okay,
Noro's
Noro.
clearly AFK making tacos.
I see. All right. While you're all doing that, Rogar, you head south, arriving a short time after at the temple. Do you want to RP this before, after, or not at all, and just summarize it? You tell me.
Probably just summarize it, I guess.
Like, you're not looking to go get Chrono to, come help you guys with something or anything, are you?
No.
Okay.
No, he's going to fill Chrono in on everything that we saw down below, and basically just...
You want to talk to his god.
Kinda, yeah.
Nora's back. You cool with leaving your weapons in a well-guarded vault at the guard's request?
Yeah, I just hand over my net.
We were wondering if you retrieved the net or not. I didn't recall.
No, I didn't. But
Yeah, Grandma still has it.
Keep it.
She'll knit you a new one.
Noro's just like grunting the whole time, but trying to see his party, and
But you handed over your sword and your whatever axe.
yes, I hand over everything else.
One of the guardsmen looks at the bladed manica that covers your arm and offhand, and it is covered in jagged blades, and he just kind of looks at it and just takes a step back.
Sir, if he wanted to kill you, he doesn't need weapons to do it.
Right. Thanks. I could tell. He looks up at you and just nods a quiet thanks, like thanks for not. You are all together led up a long flight of stairs to a balcony, through a set of double doors, down a long hall. Windows on both sides reveal a beautiful courtyard, full of trees, manicured shrubbery, lawns, fountains on both sides of this hall. You're led through another set of double doors into a large gallery. Down both sides are statues of heroes past, weapons on the walls, and a variety of trinkets and items, jewels, crowns, etc. in display cases. Beyond that, up another flight of stairs and through one final tall set of gleaming golden doors into a large circular chamber. I will move you guys to the battle map just so you get an idea of what it looks
Why
like.
you gotta call it a battle map? Why can't you just call it a map?
It's a battle map if you throw hands. And if you don't throw hands, then it's not. Making some adjustments here, and I'll go ahead and put you guys on the map, just for giggles and grins. I'm assuming if Louis is back, I'm assuming Pierre is not out and happily bobbing along.
I don't think he's had a chance to resummon Pierre, has he?
No. We had a short rest. I don't know what it takes to resummon him, though. He's pooping. He'll be a minute.
I see.
That's right, everybody in Twitch. He's pooping.
Everybody poops. Okay. That's good enough. We'll move you guys over to there. Just so you can get a visual of what I'm describing. And maybe while I'm waiting for Louis to get back, I will switch over to Rogar. Rogar, you find Chrono at his usual spot. Actually out in the small courtyard in the middle of the temple. Tending to a small shrub. Carefully trimming a few leaves. Ah, Rogar. I thought I'd carry on the work you started. Can I help you?
I think I just need to be in a better place than where we just recently were.
He extends his hands to the side slowly. I can think of none better within the city. My home is yours. You would prefer company or solitude?
Maybe a bit of both. I'll go with company for now.
He doesn't say anything further and just continues quietly with his work. Kind of sensing your request to stick around, but also leave him alone. Leave you alone.
Roger will put his some of his equipment down and just kind of help tend to stuff.
As you spend some time here, you cannot help but feel something. Like a presence watching over you. And you can't help but think that despite all of the evil you've faced, despite the dark places you've been and the things you've seen, you focus on the good you've done, and it brightens your spirits a bit. It's your spirits and brightens your mood a bit. Is there anything else you wanted to do while here? Or?
Rogar would, like, while doing all of, like, doing the cleaning, he would just make, like, subtle comments about what transpired. Like, the fact that he met an angel, finding out where the rest of the Genasi went and whatnot. The holier things that happened during the combat, mainly the smite.
Do you speak out loud about these things to Crow?
Yeah.
He just nods silently and takes it all in. And when you're done speaking, he says, "How do you feel about the path you are walking? Not where you walk, but the steps you take."
It feels good to, I guess, do good. To prevent further evils from happening, to put the Genasi to rest that rose. To help the angel Deva not be corrupted. And, kind of, I guess, protect the city just from stopping what they were doing. It all feels right.
He just nods quietly. Good. You have a long path ahead of you, but your first steps are in the right direction. Stay for as long as you wish. If you hunger, I can bring you some meager food to eat. If you thirst, I have tea. If that does not quench your thirst, something stronger perhaps.
Rogar will
Winks.
just smirk.
Back at the White Bastion, through hallway and gallery, you're led to the chamber that you see on the map before you. And Louis, as I was telling the others, unless you guys give me a reason to roll initiative, the map is literally just there to help me describe the place. I was going to describe it while looking at the map. Figure you guys would want to see it too.
I just realized there's no music playing.
Oh.
Let me just get it.
You were led into this circular chamber. Windows in the domed ceiling high above let in the last bit of light from the setting sun. What clouds there are in the sky are lit orange and pink dyeing to purple as the sun sets, and some of that light makes it into this place. Flame-lit chandeliers hang about the space as well, casting warm light that sets the marble in the room aflame with a flicker. Not literally. About the room, several guards stand ready, well armed and, as best you can tell, well trained. A single balcony encircles the room, upon which are benches. One would imagine where council members might sit if entertaining an audience. But this evening, there are only 3 figures in the room aside from the guards. Sorry, 4 figures. Math is hard. Your old friend and mine, Hammond Sam, stands tall, below and to your left of a large marble throne. Upon the throne sits a man with dark receding hair, a heavy brow, and a neatly trimmed dark beard. He wears a finely embroidered tabard that bears the 3 white stars above a ship's anchor, the crest of Dralamar. Then he surveys you all as you enter the room. To his left, your right, a knight in polished gold and silver armor stands ready, hand on the hilt of his sword. And at the base of the steps, further to his left, your right, a cleric, old, white hair, deeply lined, sun-tanned face, wearing white and gold vestments. He holds a large, ornate golden staff that he leans heavily on. As you're brought into this space, the knight speaks aloud. "My lord, High Inquisitor Kreneth Voss of the Crimson Order approaches with guests." The regent raises a hand and motions you all to step forward. Voss, seemingly not bothered by any of this regality, glides slowly towards the center of the room where he stops. I'm assuming the rest of you follow him?
Yep.
You don't have to declare a marching order or move your tokens, but if you do move your tokens, it does kind of help me visualize, where you're at. Voss speaks up and says, "Lord Regent, it is good that you've allowed us to speak before you this eve. Our words will, I hope, be short, and then we will be on our way. Thank you for seeing us." The Regent nods curtly and stands, walks down the steps, and stops at the bottom. He sits down on the bottom step. He sits down one step from the bottom, and just kind of sighs heavily. He says, "It's been a long day of entertaining various folk who've come to ask for things of the council and beg our time." He holds his hands up. "Come, let's speak plainly. I would like to get off to dinner and an early bed." He looks to his left and right, and he says, Our Master of Coin, Master Hammond Sam, Cedric Dugard, my Captain of the Guard, and, if any of you are from Dralamar or have spent much time here, Father Morningsward, our High Priest of Palor, has joined us to ensure that we all speak openly and plainly. The aging priest nods. I hope you all speak openly and truthfully. I will know if you are not. And he kind of smiles, taps the butt of his staff on the ground, and casts a spell. Without asking for your permission.
I don't counterspell.
In case you were wondering.
He casts Zone of Truth. He utters a brief prayer and taps the butt of his staff on the ground. The lot of you, let's see, 15-foot radius spheres, 30-foot diameter. The lot of you feel a wave of warmth overtake you. You feel compelled to speak true, and you have an opportunity to attempt to resist the spell if you'd like. It is a charisma save if you would like to resist it. Otherwise, at any point in the next 10 minutes, you cannot speak a deliberate lie while standing in the middle of this room. And he is eyeing you closely as he casts the spell.
Monsieur Dumont, Monsieur Sam, do you want to join us in this lovely zone?
That'll be quite alright, thank you. So, speak plainly. Why have you come? Pranith Voss says, to explain the matter of the disturbances at the manor house. Yes, I'm quite aware of them. Cedric here has told me of several explosions and a fire that demolished much of the upper level of... he kind of looks towards the ground, the old Thornton home. I assume there's good reason for it. The Crimson Order is highly respected, and as such, I've asked Master Sam here to allow you to stay at least until the morn. But I would appreciate you explain yourselves, as well as commit to repairing the damages to Master Sam's home. Yes, well, that is precisely the matter we've come to speak on. And Voss takes a step to the side and looks at all of you, and says, these folk have been instrumental in helping me with my affairs in my absence. I would let them speak on my behalf. Their words are mine. And he takes a step aside. The look on Hammond Sam's face is... he's intrigued. There is a little bit of a smile on his face. Scribble, he's looking at you through most of this. And he has this well, you know, I mean, I'll just put him on screen because he's just kind of creepy looking. Whenever Roll20 decides to actually display it.
Is that a dude from Star Trek?
It is that dude from Star Trek.
I mean, he's been in other things, but he is that dude from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And Lunalia's going to have a look around the room. Is there anybody out of sight? Anybody that's attempting to hide behind a pillar? Any unseen guard? She's just looking for anybody who's not supposed to be there.
Make a perception check. Holy fuck. Yeah, that's a crazy roll. You listen, and in the silence between the beats of conversation, in the space between words, you hear soft footsteps that don't match anyone in the room. No one is moving. but you're aware of just the softest of footfalls. Up on the balcony, like someone pacing. Someone watching. Pacing around. With that high of a roll... Yeah, those footfalls seem very casual. You also notice something weird. Ham and Sam at one point, as anyone is wont to when they fidget or when they stand for a long period of time, fidgets just a bit. He looks down, holds an arm out, looking at the palm of his hand and his forearm, spies something on the sleeve of his long coat and reaches down to brush it away. There's something weird about the way his hand moves. It's just not right.
Okay.
The long pause of silence ends, and the regent says, "Well, I tire of this. Let's hear what you have to say." He looks about the group.
Let's scribble a look at Hammond. And just, we have taken care of the rogue group of Crimson Order that were responsible for possibly burning down the inn or the other day.
When you say that, Crown of the Voss bows his head slightly, looking at the floor. The regent says, "Rogue? Master Voss, dissent within your ranks. It's unheard of in the Order." And Voss looks up at him and meets his eyes. "I'm aware. I intend to explore exactly how deep this group has gotten into our ranks. But I assure you, those within your city have been dealt with." He grows quiet again, allowing you to speak.
Linellia's just gonna elbow Louis in the shoulder.
It does appear that the group has been dispatched and should not cause any more problems in your city, as we had discussed at the guardhouse, Hammond.
His mischievous smile grows wider, and he nods, bowing in your direction, seemingly thankful.
There is a matter of, on top of the rogue, order. There are some tunnels underneath the city. And at some point they should probably be filled in. It could affect the structural integrity of Duralimar.
Hammond speaks up at this point and says, "Tunnels? I would like to hear more about these tunnels. Do tell."
It does look like they were dug out some time ago, though precise timeline is not possible.
From beneath Thornton Manor? Yes?
Beneath the entirety of the lower part of the city, actually.
The regent and the priest exchange glances, worried glances. What do you mean, beneath the city?
I mean, there is a large ring in the shape of a tunnel beneath the lower portion of the city, with spokes leading to a center.
To what end?
There was some bad shit going on. But at this point, we put a stop to it. There was a weird ritual of some sort. But it is no longer. And we have dealt with it.
A large portion of what was at the center of these tunnels has collapsed, and it would be in the city's best interest to make sure that the structural integrity that supports the lower half of Dralamar remains intact.
The regent, growing concern spreading across his face, turns to Hammond and says, Master Sam, you should commission a team to look into this immediately. Would you make sure the funds are in place for this and contact the appropriate boardmaster? Yes, of course, Regent. Troubling news indeed, and I believe we owe you all thanks for your efforts. I admit I do not fully understand what it is you speak of. A ritual? Nefarious, it sounds like. These folk were up to no good.
Very nefarious and up to no good.
Also quite gross.
Details! I would have you relay some details of what you saw and what you might surmise they were up to. Speak! Speak! Are any of you experts at all in any of this?
There was sacrifice of Janasi. So it's very brutal. And it seems as though there was some sort of divine beings involved, but we do not know exactly what was required of them, and it seemed as though it was trying to create a connection with another plane.
That is what originally drew me to Dralamar. I was in search of people like myself, only to find that several of them had gone missing, and unfortunately it looks like we found them a little too late.
I'm aware of those like you in our city. They come and go from time to time. Some travelers from across the plains, and others from our very own plane. Voss, are you to tell me that your subordinates were gathering them and sacrificing them? Because if that is what you are telling me, I cannot help but hold you responsible for the crimes committed by those under you. And at this point, the guards in the room stiffen. They don't move, but you can hear the slight rattle of armor, the shifts in their posture as weapons are go from slack in hands to held tightly.
Does Lunalia still hear anything else? She's just going to close her eyes now, and she's looking at well, she's not looking at the ground, but she's got her head nodded forward.
You hear the pacing stop, and just the softest of chuckles. You're pretty sure it's Silas. He's here. He's invisible, and he's watching this whole thing.
Mm.
That's what a 29 gets you.
Wow.
Boss speaks up and says, "Very well. If you are to hold me responsible, I have no choice but to comply. In due time, there is still the possibility of further threat within my order. I must return home. You have my word that I will come back to this city when affairs are in order. Know these words are true. I hope you consider them." He just bows again. He's gone from being a very sort of commanding individual to, you can tell he is doing his best to show respect to this city-state leader and his crew. He's doing his best to hold his tongue. He's doing his best to, hang his head and eat his words and accept blame for this. There is very much truth in his posture and his words. All of this shit happened on his watch, and his real concern is just, I gotta get home and make sure there's no more baddies in my crew, and then I guess I better deal with, the people that we pissed off here. The priest says, "I would like to speak at length with any of you who have more details on what you found. I find your account lacking parts. Must understand more about the sacrifice. Who do you suppose was behind all of this? What purpose did they work towards? We must know to keep our city safe."
There was one that got away.
Scribble. Hammond is looking directly at you, and that creepy smile has gotten a little... And he just nods very, almost imperceptibly. Well, you say one got away, but you know not to where?
No, we do not know where he escaped to. He managed to use magic to get away, and we could not follow him.
Well, before you leave this place, I will have you give a description as best you can to Cedric here, and he will dispatch guards to look for this individual.
Bien sûr, but of course.
They were hooded, right?
Yeah, they were hooded. You couldn't see much of their faces. But what you could see, they were just a couple of generic dudes. Like, truly and honestly, they were just a couple of guys for you to fight and kill, and one of them got away. Who got close? Rogar and Lunalia were close. I could, Lunalia, you could, when we get, I'll have you roll some dice when we get to it. it's probably just best to leave it to Dice. Yeah. For how well you can recount his face and relay it to them.
No, I want to recant his face.
Yeah, recant. I've taken it back.
Was the brand on the people involved? Did we recognize that as a brand of Orcus, or was that an individual brand of like their order? Like, if I looked at that without knowing anything else about it, would I know Orcus?
I believe I described it as it's an older symbol, but it checks out. It is an archaic symbol that was used to. It was his brand when he was on top, when he was the Prince of Undeath, but sort of an older one. Yeah, that's it. That is the meme I was going for. I don't recall what you had to do to recognize it, but you either got somebody made a good roll, or you took it to like Chrono and recognized it.
Yeah, I don't think any of us recognized it at first glance.
But it's something that, somebody with access to knowledge or books would recognize. If not right away, then with a bit of research. It wasn't a, secret club symbol. It was a very known brand.
I do not know that we could provide an accurate description of the men that got away. Or the women that got away, we do not know. But they were masked and hooded, but there was a brand on their body, on their back or their chest, and we believe that the brand was the brand of Orcus.
Are you sure? Are you certain?
We think that it was an old one, but the research that we did points to that.
Troubling. Very troubling, my lord. Orcus, the Prince of Undeath.
It is very troubling, yes. But we feel confident that there is no more danger for this at present. But also, once we leave here, we will be trying to make sure that there is nothing that comes up anywhere else with this.
The priest looks toward the regent and says, "Very troubling, my lord. Orcus, Prince of Undeath, once a dark god, ruled an entire layer of the abyss. Was felled by a drow goddess, fell into obscurity. Remnants, vestiges of his once great darkness were sealed away across the plains. If these folk bear his mark, they are up to no good. We must root them out," and he taps the butt of his staff on the ground. "Must find them, any left in our city. Dispense of them. Post haste." The regent nods. "Troubling news you've all brought. And yet I feel we owe you thanks again for removing this threat from our city. We will assemble a contingent of guards to search the city. We will find this man who escaped you. And any of his accomplices. I am disappointed, Lord Voss, that such evil existed under your nose and brought terror to our city. I'll see you gone by dawn, not to return until your house is in order. And you are standing here before me again, begging forgiveness. At that point, I will decide your fate. The rest of you, I do know something of you. For you see, and he holds up a finger. I may not get out much, but much news comes to my ears. You own a mine. Some of you have done great deeds in and around Phandalin. Not all of you are here. I hope the others are at rest or fighting a good fight somewhere.
The most devout of our group has chosen to take some time at a temple.
Ah, the cleric from our very own city.
No.
Another?
I mean, yes, but no.
Well, the gods grace your party. May you do their fine work further. You again have my humble thanks for dispatching evil from beneath. We will finish the job. On that you have my word. He turns to Ham and Sam and sort of more quietly, seemingly as if that was the statement to end this conversation, he turns to Sam and sort of more quietly, Dear God, Hammond, what is happening beneath your home? I do not know, but I intend to find out. You also have my thanks for looking after what is left of the manor home. I do hope you will return to our fine city in the future. And he just smiles that creepy smile at all of you. I am in your debt. Well, if there was nothing else, I do have a meal getting cold, and a wife who's wondering where I am. And he just looks at you all expectantly. Kreneth Voss bows deeply. Thank you for your time and your grace. I will see you again. And he turns and without another word glides out of the room. It is up to you if you wish to stay and say anything further. There is a tap of the priest's staff, and the field around you fades. Geralius turns to Cedric, and they begin speaking in hushed voices. One of the guardsmen, Lunalia, approaches you and asks you for a description of the man that got away.
Okay.
Sorry, asks all of you, but I imagine you step up because you're the only one who really saw him up close.
Okay.
And I'm just going to pull up a character sheet and have a look for an appropriate... I feel like an intelligence check is, when you're trying to describe something you saw in detail. I feel like intelligence is
Probably.
I was thinking as performance, perhaps. Can you pitch it as performance? But
You could pitch it as history?
yeah, like if
Investigation.
you're trying to draw it, I
No.
might say performance or dexterity.
No, intelligence makes sense.
Yeah, just make an
I
intelligence
mean,
check.
it's my garbage roll, but, an intelligence check. Great, I have a +0. He was a potato, sir. He was a man,
A big, beautiful potato.
about the size of a man,
Hmm.
wearing a red robe, a mask, and far too much Drakkar Noir.
Wow. Louis, I imagine you might chime in to describe the if you wanted to, their capabilities. You definitely saw them cast some spells. These guys were no chumps. They were pretty heavy hitters as far as necromancy goes. So
Yeah, I would chime in with. They seem to be very powerful spellcasters, more powerful than myself, I believe. So I would be very careful. They can get away very quickly and hurt very bad.
the guardsman nods and just says, "Thank you. That's helpful. If they're practiced in the arcane arts, they may travel in certain circles and be easier to find." Just he nods and thanks you all, and you are left to leave if you want, or interrupt these guys who are. You can see that Hammond and Cedric, Geralius and Cedric and the priest have sort of huddled together, and they're drawing plans for what do we do, how do we chase these people down, what's next. And Hammond is just kind of quietly listening in, maybe from the perspective of, how much money is this going to cost and how do I make it happen, but you all know why he's really listening in. Up to you guys if you want to do anything else before we close the scene.
Are the footsteps still in the room?
It is now to. There was enough quiet between words before to hear it. Now the quiet conversation coming from the head of the room kind of drowns everything else out. And you're not able to pick it up. They might just be gone, but there is more volume in the room in general, and you just can't quite make it out.
Okay.
Anything else from anybody before we go on to the next scene?
Nope.
Noro, you got a chance to. You could yeet somebody. There's a balcony here, about 15 feet.
I wish to rage.
Actually, it's
no,
about 10
it's
feet.
okay.
Okay. As this scene closes and you all make your way out of the room, picking up your various weapons from the ornate and well-guarded vault in the receiving area, pass out of the castle's entrance, and some distance away from the castle, Preneth Voss turns to you all and says, "That was incredibly difficult."
Yes. I find it is very hard to keep one's mouth shut.
And he's got a look on his face like he ate something that tastes really bad. The regent's words were nothing.
The
he
regent
said.
is a hypocrite.
Yes, but nothing he said was wrong. I must get my house in order.
As must he, though we could not say that to him.
There is no easy way for me to tell if he is under Sam's sway. His mind is closed to me. Although perhaps only by a trinket. Could not find purchase. If Ham and Sam truly is something else, how can their high priest stand so close to him and not know it?
Many reasons.
Crafty fellow he is, or the priest is as addled in mind as he sounds.
Or he's in on it.
I think it
What
wise.
a feather in his cap that would be for Ham and Sam to have a high priest of Paylor on the payroll.
I think it wise. He looks at Scribble. That we chose words this eve. Well, I must prepare to be on my way. You are all, of course, invited to stay one more night in the manor house. And Louis, I would have some words with you before we part.
Bien sûr.
Lonelia's just going to head back.
Okay. So, Rogar, was there anything else you wanted to do at the temple? Are you eventually just going to find your way back to your friends, or?
Yeah, I'll eventually find my way back to my friends.
Okay.
I imagine I'd probably just be cleaning for a majority of the time and potentially making a meal for Chrono and the Genasi that are hidden away.
Surveying the courtyard of the temple, which when you first found it was in such a state of disrepair, like it hadn't been looked after in decades. Overgrown with weeds, and the bushes were all but wild. The little bit of work that you put into it seems to have inspired Chrono to continue. But you can't help but get the sense that he perhaps left it that way intentionally for you or someone to find and take the initiative on. In any case, he does seem to be putting some serious effort into it, and the evidence of that is this day that you've returned. It is already looking a little bit more spruced up than when you last left it. You prepare a meal for him and the others, and he asks you, "Tell me your opinion. Are these folk who we protect here safe to return to their lives?"
I don't think any of them will be truly safe, but I don't think anyone will be sacrificed anytime soon.
Perhaps I will find them safe passage from this city. Those that wish to leave. Those that wish to stay, I will do my best to look in on them from time to time. As you go to leave, you feel a slender hand grab your shoulder. Hey. You turn, and the slender, elven-featured, dark-skinned darkling stands beneath the eaves of the building. Can I join you?
Of course.
You're going back to her, yes?
Yes.
I think I'll come with you, if that's all right. These folk seem to be safe here. And he doesn't ask any questions or strike up any conversation, just quietly follows you, hood up and cloak drawn tight, as you make your way back. Are you guys going to stay at the Manor House one more night, or are you going somewhere else?
Lunali will stay at the Manor House. She's gonna sleep outside.
I think the Manor House is a safe place for right now.
When you get back, you can see that there is a regiment of guards stationed outside. On the corners of the house, at every entrance, they seem to be preparing to, kick you guys out first thing, or observe your departure in the night. Voss quietly regards them as you make your way back in. And Louis, he takes you aside whenever you give him some time, and we'll have a quiet conversation. Actually, you know what? He leaves you with his trusted subordinate first to give you a little briefing on what they're all about, and maybe some things you should and shouldn't do with your new police badge.
Here's a pamphlet.
And I can chat with you offline about that stuff if you're interested. Like, I'm curious to see how much Louis is going to toss that weight around, and how much he thinks it's worth.
Oh man, I can't wait.
You get the sense after speaking with them both that the badge is good for things like what you guys just did. Like, you might walk into a big city and be like, I represent these guys, and if you don't trust me, call my boss. But if you walked into, like, if you showed that to somebody in Phandalin, they'd be like, who the fuck is that? I don't know what the Crimson Order is.
Right.
Then again, the Crimson Order probably doesn't need to ask anybody's permission to operate in a small town. They just go do what they want to do and get out. So there's that. Voss offers you a look at his spell book, and offers to spend a little time allowing you to inscribe some spells from his book, as sort of a, like, he admits that they don't really have any sort of authorization to pay a reward or anything, but he does feel indebted to all of you for what you've done, and so he offers some knowledge, not just spells, but if you have any questions for him, and you can totally do this later, both the spells and information. He is a fairly high-level wizard with access to stuff all the way to 9th level. So, he got some stuff. If you'd like me to create a list for you that you can pick and choose from, great. If you've got some spells you've, kind of thinking of and curious, like, you could give me the list and I'll make some dice rolls.
Yeah, we'll talk in the next couple days.
Cool. Yeah, I kind of wanted to throw the opportunity there without, having to like put you on spot and have you tell me what you're after right now. But it felt like it fit well in there. I also owe you guys some loot from the necromancer that you felled. I haven't forgotten that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just trying to think of what else we need to wrap up. Rogar arrives sometime after you guys get back, and with him is Shade. Lunalia, Shade would step aside to a quiet hallway or room to chat with you a bit. I don't know if there's anything you wanted to catch up on with him, but he basically tells you that he feels that Chrono can be trusted and that the Genasi that he's looking after are relatively safe and in good spirits, although a couple of them are anxious to be on their way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a huge conversation she would need to have. She would fill him in on everything that's happened. And she would offer, she would tell him that they're heading back to Phandalin. And she would offer up that, maybe Phandalin is far enough away and a quiet enough place that some Genasi might want to make their way there.
He nods and he thinks about it for a minute and says, Did we accomplish what we set out to do? Is this it? We found them. We rescued those who still drew breath. Is this it?
For me, it's not.
I will come with you.
There's more to it. There's more to the plains and the disturbances than what we've found here.
When I committed to this path, what I mean to say is I will come with you if you ask. But if you did not, I would be content to stay here. I've made somewhat of a home and acquaintances here.
And what of your people?
Well, my people are here as well. In greater number.
Well, as much as I'd like to have you with me, I wouldn't want to pull you away from them.
He kind of smiles awkwardly. I wouldn't be far. And
What do you mean?
Were I to stay and you to go, I wouldn't be more than a few days away, and you know where to find me.
A few days? All I have to do is use this stone and I'm back in an instant. She pulls the bloodstone out and shows him.
Well, then I suppose this is easier. I would... Had you no use for me, I would stay here. But if you want my help, I am yours.
I believe I will need your help in the future. The issue with the plains is far bigger than what we thought.
And he just nods. Well, then I look forward to when next we meet.
As do I.
He turns and kind of starts to walk towards the door and then looks back at you.
You're free to stay here for the night.
All right.
I should warn you, Noro snores, so does Rogar, Louis talks in his sleep, and the bird might pick your pocket. But other than that, you're welcome to stay.
He smiles awkwardly again and just shakes his head. I'm not worried about the bird. Him I understand. The others, not as much.
They're harmless. Unless, of course, dinner's not ready.
Got any chicken?
Exactly.
He just nods. If you need me, I will be outside. I do enjoy staring at the night sky. I have nothing else to do.
I intend to sleep out by the pond this evening.
Ah, well, that's where I'll be then. Heads out of the room. All right. So, with Rogar rejoining the group, and all of you here together, you do have a final opportunity to ask Kreneth Voss for anything, to speak to Kelder Maloro, and or Ember, to talk to Nazik Trask. He is obviously going back home to Aurelia with his boss. Kind of your last opportunity without a sending spell to have a chat with them, ask them for anything. If you don't think of anything now, feel free also next week to just, we can retcon it and say you asked them before they left.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Like to give people some room and time to think and not put you on the spot too much. Is there anything anybody would like to do before taking a long rest? I do have one sort of final thing to do when you guys are done, and then we'll call it a night.
I mean, Aloro... Lunalia would want to talk to Aloro and let him know that he's being released into our custody, and that we will be returning to Phandalin, and essentially to put him under the watchful eye of Paramon.
You go to see him, and you can see the wards still stand strong on the door frame and the door outside of the room that he and Ember share. The single robed acolyte there lets you in. You can see that he's by now he's kind of made himself at home. He's got a small glass of brandy, and he's kind of sitting on the couch, relaxed. Come to bring me news from my captors.
Yes.
And?
We are your captors now. The Crimson
Really?
Order has remanded you to our custody under the condition that Paramon will be overseeing your stay in Phandalin.
How in... That's fantastic. Get to see my old friend. And how exactly did you talk Kreneth Voss into releasing me into your... He didn't. The gnome? Really?
Yes. Also, I am incredibly persuasive.
He slaps his face and just drags his hand down his eye and mouth. Ah. The gnome, really?
Yes. The gnome is now officially a member of the Crimson Order.
Well, I suppose he earned it. So, when do we leave?
Tomorrow, hopefully.
Right, I'll have to collect my things. Ember, be a dear and fetch your other. You can see her just whisper something into the air. It's done.
Did I hear her? Oh no, she's talking to her
Yeah.
simulacrum.
Yeah. She whispers something into the air and she just says, "It's done." Right. Well then. He raises the glass. To old friends and new beginnings.
Is there anything else you'll need from town before we go?
He kind of looks at you and then looks at her, sort of confused, and well, why are you offering to fetch something for me?
If it's possible, yes.
Did you have something in mind?
No. I'm asking if there's anything that you need that I can pick up for you in town before we leave. Because you will not be leaving this residence until it is time to go.
Oh, no. What makes you think you can hold me? Just out of curiosity, of course I'll come with you.
Because now I have information that I know you need.
And what would that be?
Well, if I told you that, you wouldn't need it anymore. So if there's nothing else further that you need, I will see you on the morrow.
He looks at her again with a confused look on his face. I really can leave any time I want. I mean, not from this room, but one step out that door and I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
But I must confess I am curious.
As I knew you would be. Enjoy your evening. Good night, Ember.
She just
And
glares.
she'll leave.
She glares at you. Night falls, and you all settle down for a night's rest.
No, because we can do this off after session, but she has a meeting to get to at midnight tonight.
With who?
With Ignis at the
With
lighthouse.
Ignis.
Oh, yes. Yes, she does. Well,
Uh-oh, we just broke the DM's plans.
Nope. This gets very interesting because I had another thing planned, but I know how to weave them together. You make your way down the hill to the Northside Docks District and down the long walk. I'm assuming at some point you're going to dip into the water and swim the rest of the way out.
Yes.
Easy enough.
I mean, no, because you've put something in the way. She will walk through the city. No, she's gonna swim.
Yeah, I imagine you walk part of the way there and swim the rest. The craggy little island towers over you in the dark of night. High above, at the top of a stone tower, weathered by countless waves and the winds of many decades, at the top of which sits a massive cauldron of flame. You climb up on the rocks at the lowest point of the isle. And look about. Go ahead and make a perception check. Potato. Oh.
Yeah, it's a potato.
Can you roll a perception less than a 20? I mean, I know it's possible, but I just don't seem to see it.
Nice.
You spot you hear the sound before you see it, but then you spot a very small wooden boat tethered to a large stone. the waves here on the inland side of the isle, causing the boat to clack against the rocks harmlessly, but it's enough to make some noise. And as you climb over the jagged rock fall here at the base of the isle, you see a hooded figure some distance away at a vantage point of a flat stone about 50 feet up that looks over this side of the island. You see the warmth of flaming hair from underneath the hood.
She'll just give him like a whistle.
He waves and signals you to climb up.
Yeah, she'll head up to him.
When you reach the flat rock that he's standing on, he offers a hand to help you up the last bit of the climb. He's wiry, but strong. Dark skin makes him hard to see in the darkness of night, other than via your night vision. But the flaming shock of hair beneath his hood lights his face from the sides in a almost ominous glow. His bright irises, two pinpoints of heat in the darkness. They're here?
I'm glad you could make it.
Yes, I had some trouble along the way. All good now. You've seen them? They're here?
Yes.
Where?
I must tell you, there seems to be something wrong with your sister.
His eyes narrow. Tell me.
Keldrum seems not himself. It almost seems as though he defers to her. He's forgetful. Addle-minded sometimes. Spaced out even.
You're watching his face as you say these things, and he's not. This is not normal. No. He's always been quite the opposite of those things. Something's wrong. Tell me about her.
She seems very keen to get this key. She'll pull it out of her pocket. The one like yours.
He reaches into a pouch at his belt and produces his as well. Have you used yours?
I have not.
Do you know how?
I have not thought to try.
The keystone is the easy part. The Nexus Beyond is infinitely more complex. I am only beginning to learn how to traverse what few planes it provides access to. Not that I have spent much time there.
I have another means of getting there.
I see. Would you... He kind of stops, like maybe he's overstepping his bounds. Would you like some company when you go?
I was told that he could only take one.
But I have a stone, and I know how to use mine.
Then I would imagine I could meet you there, although I do intend to... There's something I'm searching for there.
There is... He kind of looks around. There's nothing there, I assure you. Just the gateways.
I still have to see it for myself. It is very important. But when I mentioned that you had a stone, your sister was very keen on having a conversation with you. Not because she is your sister, or she missed you, or she wished to convince you of one thing or another, but only because you had that stone.
Well, yes, I took it from them.
Yes. But she seems to want the stone more than Keldrum does. Does that make sense to you?
Cannot pretend to know what path she's on, but I do know how she thinks. She is haunted by our past. Hates places like this. People. Only sees the worst in people. Because when we were young, it was all she saw. I fear she will do something rash, if given the opportunity. If given this, and he holds up his stone.
We intend to head to Phandalin tomorrow, or as soon as possible. While Aloro has not been forgiven for his perceived crimes, he is going to be placed under the care of that guy. Paramon. In Phandalin. An old friend of his. Perhaps
he
you should meet us there.
You don't really see any recognition on his face. Like he just kind of nods. Like okay. I could. I must keep this from them. I worry. It's been some time since I've seen either of them. I left a while ago with this to seek my own path. Perhaps I will watch from a distance, move when the time is right. You must understand, they cannot have a keystone. The Nexus is so much more than a room full of doors, than gateways to other realms. It is a focal point of power. It is, think, more than any save Keldrum thought it could be. I would not let it fall into their hands.
Nor would I.
Well,
I believe my father is lost somewhere in the plains. I thought him dead. But
what
the
did you say?
Nexus, I believe my father is lost in the plains. At first I thought maybe he was hiding, trapped even, in this Nexus.
When can you go? There's a look on his face. Something's changed. There's a hint of excitement. Can we go now?
We can go outside of session, yes.
Well, if you're okay to go, I've got just a little bit of narration, and then we'll call it a night.
Yeah, I just don't want to keep everybody up.
Nope, it'll take 5 minutes.
Okay. Yes, I could go right now.
As you say that, there is a voice from over your shoulder.
That's not good.
And his expression, Ignis' expression changes to one of surprise. A soft light radiates from behind you. As you turn around, there is a alabaster-skinned, winged creature standing before you. It is the Deva Erlon.
Ah, you must have been listening in.
I admit, I was curious. Shall
Some
we
would
go?
find that exceptionally rude, but I'll forgive it.
Shall we go? And he holds out a hand.
Yes.
As you take his hand, there is a rush of light that swirls about you, and you are unceremoniously yanked out of existence. Colors and sounds of all types stream past you for a split second and an eternity. Your vision goes dark as the rush of the chaos around you falls away. It's quiet. You hear a soft breeze coming. You're not sure from where. You don't feel it on your skin, but you can hear this breeze that swirls about you. Strange sound like far-off wind chimes tinkles through the air. You become aware of the floor beneath your feet. Hard, metallic. The air in this place is charged with energy. It's a electric tinge of ozone that greets your nose. A hint of burnt metal and a trace of something familiar. Something you're not quite sure. Something fragrant in the past. As your eyes begin to adjust to the darkness around you, far away you see wisps of deep violet clouds shifting and shimmering like a veil over a sea of 1,000,000 glittering stars. Like you're standing surrounded by the night sky on all sides. And then a darkness passes over your vision as you become aware of great rings turning slowly in the near darkness about you. Another one passes, this one from a different angle. A third one, a fourth one. Rotating, spinning, turning, rings within rings. Huge, hundreds of feet above you, yet you feel like you could reach out and touch them. All of them massive but eerily silent. Seconds go by, the floor underfoot begins to radiate a soft white light that illuminates the inner side of the closest rings. Dimly lit, they glimmer like polished brass. And you begin to count 1, 2, 3, 4. The first 4 rings, one of them is pristine, pure, beautifully polished, covered with runework. Another scorched, blackened, barely a few thin bits of brass that shine through the carbon scoring. It's horribly burnt. A third and a fourth one, flame-scorched, but still intact. Still mostly there. And then more rings that enter your field of view, turning slowly. Parts of rings, crescents, unfinished. Perhaps twice as many as the original 4. As your eyes focus on the space between here and infinity, you see thin golden strands that glimmer in the soft light, marking additional rings, perhaps to be built in the future. They also spin and turn at different speeds. For a visual reference, I will direct you all to this map. Let me know when you guys can see that, when the visual loads.
That's not
Looks
a map.
pretty red.
You're basically standing in, imagine if instead of a globe in the middle of this, imagine if it was like a flat disc, and you're standing in the middle of it, and these massive concentric rings on various different axes and gimbals rotate and spin around you at different speeds.
Mm.
And beyond it, just a vast darkness of space, stars and very, very thin wisps of deep purple clouds that blow past them.
This place is nothing like what I had imagined.
Your words leave your mouth and stop. And then a second later echo. And echo again. And then stop strangely, and then echo and echo again. Sound, the way sound travels in this place doesn't seem to make any sense. And again, you get that feeling that you're in this vast, infinite space. These rings are, some of them seem hundreds of feet across, some of them seem miles across, and you feel like every single one of them, if you tried, you could reach out and touch it, stop it spinning, turn it on its axis, interact with it. But that's impossible because they're so far away. This place is so large and you're so small. There's that smell again. It brings back a memory. A pouch of dried flowers and herbs that your mother made for your father that used to hang around his neck.
Is it coming from a direction?
You look all around and you don't see anything. Like Ignis said, this place is devoid of anything but the construct itself. You walk a few paces in one direction and then another, and you don't seem to get any closer to the edge of the platform that you stand on. This glowing platform. The rings stay a constant distance from you. The place seems to sort of grow and shrink around you as you move around in it. The light dims a bit. Softer now. The rings return to just shadows moving in the darkness around you. The breeze dies down. You hear a voice. Very familiar voice. Old elvish words. Elu Alev, Loneloth. I hoped you would come. And that's where we'll end tonight.
You suck!
So, are you dead? Because Noro's worried.
Noro doesn't know I'm gone.
I was gonna say, you did this in front of us?
No.
Oh, okay.
She said she was going to sleep outside. You would have just let her go. She sleeps outside. She's weird. She does that.
Oh, okay. I missed that.
She's going to come back. There's going to be another dead body somewhere.
No.
Cool. I like the space music.
Yes, it took me forever to find the right type of ethereal, sort of mysticky music.
It fitted. It fitted well.
I didn't realize there was space music playing.
Oh, you can't hear the music?
No. Also, I still have the spinning donut in the middle of my screen from, I think, Ham and Sam.
Oh.
Oh, just F5.
Just
Just refresh. I had to do
just
the same
refresh,
thing.
you'll hear it.
Yeah,
When I
Roll20's
first-
been really weird with images lately.
Well, with
I think
sound,
it's just you guys. Like my stuff loads instantly.
God damn
with
it,
sound, like when I'm playing around with sounds
Mm.
before the stream, trying to figure out, what I'm gonna load and stuff. I have to refresh the Edge browser that the admin account is on, and my Firefox browser that my Roll20 is on, in order to sometimes hear sounds.
Hmm.
It's like if I mess around with them or play too many and then turn them off and then play others, it shits itself.
Yeah, it's like it's running out of cache. I wonder if that's just a. I was I can probably end the stream.